Join us at Women of Courage and celebrate the achievements of women.
Today, I choose love. From my past, my future, to my family and friends, I choose love. With everything we've got going on in the world today, all the hate and negativity, love is all we have, and it's all we need. If you can start each day with love, you will watch your world change. But the time is now to forgive, to forget, to move on. Do this and your perspective will change. If I know one thing, I would rather live in a world with love and openness than a world full of pain. And it's our choice to believe in something bigger than us. One world, one people, one love.
Hello, everyone, and Happy New Year to my listening audience. I hope you had a Merry Christmas and a great New Year. We're going to start this New Year off discussing the book, What You Must Do to Win. We all want to be winners. So I believe that if you read this book, it should help you to be on your way to winning. For the next 3 shows, we are going to be discussing the book, What You Must Do to Win. One thing that one must consider is what is winning. Exactly what do you do, or what is meant by the word winning. Winning is a goal, true enough, but what do you actually mean by the word winning? Is winning to you playing $100 a week on the lotto hoping to win $1,000,000? Is winning to you buying a new car or buying a new home or meeting a nice guy and marrying someone to take care of you? Or is winning being accepted into college or getting a new job or starting life anew? The reason why your definition of winning is important is the reason for your labor to get the desired result will determine what you are going to do or what you are willing to do. Listen to what I said closely. I said your definition of winning is important because the reason for your labor to get the desired results will determine what you are going to do or are willing to do to achieve this goal. Not that your definition of winning will make you a winner. Let us take this example. You want to purchase a car. Your friends say that a new car on your salary is out of reach. They tell you to buy a used car. Play it safe. You might have to make future repairs to your car, but at least you will not have a large car note. That's what they say to you. Do you take their advice and purchase a used car? Or do you do your due diligence and research the fields of cars being offered for sale? Do you sit down and calculate the actual true figure what it will take to purchase a used car versus a new car? And will you not have a large car note? Do you accept their opinion without questioning their advice? Do you tell yourself you deserve to purchase a new car and not an old car? Do you tell yourself you're not willing to accept a used car, but you're willing to take a second job to get the car that you want? Do you sit down and map out a plan how to reach your goal? Do you go to the library and research for books that will tell you about planning and how to realize your goal? Do you read books written by other people who have had similar problems to yours? Do you examine what these people did to solve their problems? Are you ready to learn from the life stories of great men? Men who refused to accept what people told them that they could or could not do with their lives. Let us take another example. Your best girlfriend tells you that there is no way you're going to attract a professional man who will marry you. Do you go home and feel sorry for yourself and accept living a mediocre life, or do you stand steadfast and believe you can attract a man of value to marry you? Do you research what you think a professional man would want or think he would need in a wife? Do you consider educating yourself, getting a better job to improve your circumstances to finding such a man? Do you research where these men can be found? More importantly, do you ask yourself just what type of man do you think would make a great match for you? Do you try and balance the scale and tell yourself that you are just as valuable as a mate as anyone else? The point here is there are always variables that affect our decision making that lead us to win or to fail. This point is critical to anyone's decision making. What are the variables involved in our decision making? Do we take our friends' advice over our own opinion of the situation or of our desires? Do we follow advice blindly because we lack the ability to stand up for ourselves, for what we want or believe in? How much do you rely on the opinion of others to make your decisions, or do you rely on yourselves to make determinations for your life? There is a dynamic to winning. One does not walk up to a baseball plate and just win. There is a background to that person hitting the ball out of the park. Behind that winning are the hundreds of conversations that person has had with him or herself about how they are going to go about playing the game of baseball. Conversations about how many times they're going to practice, how much time they will devote to the game. There are forces interceding to a person winning. We have to realize that the word winning is predicated on many factors. Winning is not just luck. Winning is predicated on endurance, fortitude, and stick-to-itness. See, there is a foundation to winning. What are you standing on when you attempt to win? What are your beliefs when you attempt to win? How long are you willing to fight to win? Do you believe in dragons or monsters? Do you have nightmares about failing? We need to realize that there are some people who fail or win based solely on how they think, how much they believe in themselves. There was an article in today's paper where Colin Kaepernick, remember Mr. Kaepernick? We discussed him in our show 48 and show 49. Well, the article in the paper said that the NFL will host a workout for Colin Kaepernick on Saturday, November the 16th. Mr. Kaepernick did not learn of the workout until Tuesday, which meant that there was a very short notice for him to prepare himself. His career rests on his success during this workout. Mr. Kaepernick has not played football professionally since the 2016 season. He is a former San Francisco 49er quarterback. Colin Kaepernick said he's not concerned about the short notice. In his own words, he's been ready for this for years. In that one sentence, Mr. Kaepernick tells you that he has anticipated this workout and he has prepared for this day, so he is not shaken up by the short announcement. You remember Mr. Kaepernick filed and settled a collusion lawsuit against the NFL, accusing teams of working together to keep him out of the league despite his proven ability as a capable NFL quarterback. He recently made public overtures about a return to the league, noting his physical readiness and releasing a fact sheet to address the false narratives around him. In the statement that he read, he is telling people he publicly focuses on the opportunities at hand. He does not have any second thoughts. If you have time, take a read of the article on Yahoo. The article is entitled, "Colin Kaepernick Says He's Not Concerned About Short NFL Workout Notice, Has Been Ready for This for 3 years." And the article, just like the NFL deal with Jay-Z, the Colin Kaepernick workout looks like a PR trap. The last article is entitled, "Eric Reid Likens Colin Kaepernick Workout to a PR Stunt." I'll believe it when I see it. NFL is giving Colin Kaepernick reason to pull out of the Saturday's pro work. Again, you can see that the NFL is being accused of not playing fair. But Mr. Kaepernick is unperturbed. He is going forward with his plan to return to football, a game and a career that he loves. After you read the articles, think about the forces driving Mr. Kaepernick. He has not allowed the NFL to deter him or to defeat him or force him to become depressed about the rest of his life. Ask yourself, what does Mr. Kaepernick have that other people do not have? Why does he continue to be a winner regardless of how much anguish is thrown his way by men who want to destroy him? Why is he persisting? He just completed a weekend feeding the homeless in California on his 32nd birthday. Why is he not allowing people to control his life? He is teaching the children of this nation a very valuable lesson about standing up for oneself and persisting and believing in oneself. Mr. Kaepernick has money. In fact, in December, Nike released a shoe, and it sold out within 1 day. The shoe was named after Mr. Kaepernick. So he has the money he earned as a football player also. He has the money that he negotiated with the NFL after suing the NFL. So he can go somewhere and live quietly for the rest of his life. Yet, Mr. Kaepernick does not take this path. He persists in living his life, letting it be known what he thinks and what his values are. Do not look at him as a public figure. Think of him as a person. Do not think that he is not suffering for being prevented from playing football, a game that he played as a child, into college, and professionally. There is no way that this man is not in pain. Being denied an opportunity can destroy a man. Yet Mr. Kaepernick is still fighting, and he still has his dignity. So before we can begin discussing the book, What You Must Do to Win, we need to review some of our previous discussions regarding self-esteem. Yes, we're right back at self-esteem again. Why? Because self-esteem is the main ingredient in winning. I am going to pause for a second to take a short break while you listen to information regarding willpower and encouragement. It is all a matter of learning new behaviors. And please remember, it is easier to build strong minds than to repair injured people. What I said is a modification of a quote by Frederick Douglass. He said, "It is easier to build strong children than to repair broken men." Now for my break. Become a sponsor of the Women of Courage show by inviting 10 women for a pleasant afternoon to listen to us speak at your venue. Help us change our community to one of peace and harmony. The Women of Courage show is supported by the Women and Children's Restoration Ministries to help women problem solve and to help women realize their dreams. Women should believe that anything is possible. Our sole purpose is the restoration of injured women, both physically and mentally. We meet twice a month on Saturday at a local restaurant to discuss subjects germane to women. We see 5 main problems of black women that we must solve ourselves. One is the sexual abuse of children, bringing unrelated males into the home and fail to notice changes in behavior. Rape and murder of black women, failure to learn the warning signs, breast cancer, which is a failure to be examined, sex trafficking of black women, accepting prostitution as a way of life, economic trials of black women due to the inability to read or lack of education. Learn how to sponsor the Women of Courage show by speaking to our spokesperson, Renee of WHPR. She can be reached at renee88.1fm at gmail.com. I repeat, renee88.1fm at gmail.com. She will tell you all about it, or you can leave a message at the number 734-686-1444. Thank you. Dear listeners, help us save a life. Stop breast cancer from taking lives. Will you assist us in putting the booklet Black Women and Breast Cancer in the hands of a million people? Please go to the website www.touchedbythelight.us and download the booklet Black Women and Breast Cancer. Then email this booklet to 5 friends, asking them to email the booklet to 5 of their friends. We are trying to reach a million women with this information to save lives. The death of one woman to breast cancer from our community is one woman too many. We thank you for your support.
You're watching Detroit's own WHPR TV. Detroit Live.
Hi, this is Renee stepping out on faith. You can watch me 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on the WHPR TV Now app. Download our free app at WHPR TV Now.
Weekdays at 2 p.m. Eastern.
Next, I'm going to read an excerpt from the book What You Must Do to Win. This excerpt should stimulate your interest as to why you should read this book. Pay close attention to what the author is saying and relate this information to the definition of self-esteem. It is important that you see the connection between winning and self-esteem. If you need or want to listen to this information again, go to our YouTube channel, Touched by the Light Publishing, and listen to show 72. Intro to What You Must Do to Win. Remember, learning takes place over time, over rehearsal. Now, here is the excerpt from What You Must Do to Win. If you are concerned with the direction that your life is taking, you should consider the way you think. If you are unhappy in your marriage, consider the way you think. If you are unhappy at your job, you should consider the way you think. If you are unmarried but pregnant with your third child, you should consider the way you think. If you are some man's mistress, you should consider the way that you think. If you are drowning your heart with alcohol, you should consider the way you think. If you are cheating on your spouse, you should consider the way you think. If you are planning on killing your boyfriend's wife, you should consider the way you think. If you are jeopardizing your children's lives by bringing an unrelated male into your home, you should consider the way you think. If you are allowing your husband to beat you in your home, you should consider the way you think. If you are soothing your mental pain with opioids, you should consider the way you think. If you are considering moving in with a man without the benefit of marriage, you should consider the way you think. If you are preparing or not preparing for retirement, you should consider the way you think. If you purchase expensive clothing to impress other people, but you do not spend money so your child can have a computer or a tutor to help him with school, you definitely need to consider the way you think. One of the reasons why mankind has had and is having problems with thinking is that all of his or her life they have been taught by their teachers and parents and grandparents what to think, not how to think. Listen to that distinction again. People as children are told what to think, not how to think. They're not taught that. A case in point is the notion that Columbus discovered America. He did not. Recently, a group of seventh graders took a publisher to task for saying in their textbooks that Columbus discovered America. The seventh graders said he discovered an island in the Caribbean, not America. Not being taught how to think is especially true in households where parents do not allow dissenting opinions from their children. Parents such as these exert control over thought in their households because they cannot tolerate or counter opposing opinions. These parents cannot tolerate a child questioning the existence of God. They cannot tolerate a child questioning the theory of creation. Creation must be accepted because it's right. Not so much that the theory of creation is right or can be proven, but that certain men say it's right and these men can back their opinion up with a gun. These gun-toting men say, we shall ignore any opinion that we do not agree with the way we think. So you see, man has two problems. He's not being taught how to think, and his thoughts are constantly being inhibited by men who seek power. Men who seek power like to be followed by people who are stupid and people who cannot think. Men who think cannot be controlled unless you kill 1,000,000 of them. So says the dictators of this world. All a dictator needs is a gun and religion. He can rule forever. Politics aside, let us look at areas closer to home. We shall discuss thinking with respect to who is the face in the mirror that we look at every morning. There are several categories of thinking. When you have time, go to several dictionaries and look up the meanings of the various categories of thinking. There is negative thinking and there is positive thinking. There is healthy thinking and there is unhealthy thinking. There is emotional thinking and there is non-emotional thinking. and there is a category called critical thinking. This is a type of thinking used by problem solvers and inventors. These thinkers were responsible for the scientific method. These are the futuristic thinkers. They are constantly asking the question, what if? Only when they ask the question, what if, is the thinker is looking to a project and to solve a problem. They're not looking to forecast gloom and doom. Most people think negatively, forgetting that negative thinking means when you think this way, you can foretell the future. The problem with negative thinking, such as worrying, it can become a habit. Negative thinking can turn you into a sad sack, and no one wants to be around you. They do not even want you as an employee or a neighbor. Why? Because negative thinking is no good for yourself or others. Your thinking does not enhance your life. Your thinking causes people to be depressed. When drinking is no longer fun, it is depressing. When using drugs is no longer fun, it is depressing. In the book, What You Must Do to Win, the writer presents you with several situations that people find themselves in, and the writer gives you some suggestions as to how to get out of these situations. Did you notice in the first excerpt, the author said, maladies occur in the lives of people because of the way that they think. One way people express the way they think to others is by their opinions. People talk all the time, giving their opinions on this or that, but what if the opinion that these people are espousing are not correct? What if these opinions are based on envy, jealousy, and hatred? What if these opinions are based on character flaws? Then what happens to these people when they talk to someone else? Giving your opinion may change what someone thinks of you. It may reveal that you are not, or that you are a poor thinker, and that what you say cannot be relied upon. Before we continue with our discussion of the book, What You Must Do to Win, I want you to listen to this quote, because the word opinion really gets people into trouble. It shows what poor thinkers they are. Okay, listen to the quote. An opinion is the worst form of communication and is actually another example of stupidity. Opinionated people miss out on life because they assume when people speak, they speak based on an opinion, when actually intelligent people speak based on facts. That's the difference. That is the difference between successful people and people who fail. People who fail believe and base their conduct on what they think, not what they actually know that is based on fact. In order for you to become a winner, you have to become the change that you want to see. You have to do it. You have to change. Commitment sometimes is hard. It can break you, especially if you have never committed to doing something hard before. Keep your opinions to yourself. In fact, you really need to examine your opinions and see if they're based in fact. And if they're not, you need to discard those opinions. Okay, the book, What You Must Do to Win, was written to help you, to put you on the path of winning. There is nothing to be ashamed of needing help to bring your thoughts under control. You can lead a better life. You do not have to keep going from one crisis to another crisis year in and year out. You need to change the way you think and the way that you problem solve. The reason why you keep encountering problems is you refuse to change. You must fight the inclinations to run and hide or pretend your problems do not exist. You must think of your children. Give them a better future by taking the time to change your life once and for all. Keep reading this book. Let it help calm you and give you the hope for the future. The purpose of the book is to give you the tools to learn how to examine problems and to arrive at workable solutions. You need for this workshop can be found in the fact that the number of children being raped and murdered in single family homes are increasing. This is a sign that the women are in trouble. The number of women being convicted of driving while intoxicated is increasing, and as never before, the number of women committing suicide and killing their children is increasing. Part of the cause for these increases is the lack of training, the inability to problem solve, and the inability to read. What we propose to do is to stir the pond. The pond becomes stagnant when oxygen is not introduced. And we all know education is the oxygen that is needed to prevent violence. Stagnant ponds are dangerous. We, in this book, the plan is to destroy the fallacy that if you want to hide something from a nigger, all you have to do is put it in a book. We do want you to know that the most fervent readers in this country are educated black women. Non-educated black women fall way behind, thus limiting their ability to manage their lives. But educated black women are the greatest readers in this country. Again, when you attempt to win at life, it is necessary that you have a definition of winning. You need to know who is whispering in your ear. Excuse me. You not only need to know who is giving you advice, you need to know their motivation and their qualifications to give you this advice. You also need a plan of action and a standard of action. When we say you need to know who is whispering in your ear, we mean for you to be careful in taking advice from a woman who lives by her vagina. When we say a standard of action, that means when you attend a gathering, you never enter a room without estimating the number of people at that gathering, sex, and the number of small groups at that gathering. Why? Because these values will provide you with information that will help you support your objective. Here are some standards you should consider. You must believe knowledge removes fear. Beware of any old friend coming back into your life. Why? Because he or she may have been in prison. The male may have been in prison for rape. Seek help from a mental health professional if you are grieving. Keep children away from negative grandparents that are always saying you are going to be just like your father. You may love your mother, but she may be a mean, hateful, disappointed woman, and she can harm the attitude of your children. Tell your son he is not a babysitter. He is not to live with a woman with children just because he doesn't have a job. Why? Because he may end up killing that child. We can prove this. Some of your girlfriends have a strange hold over your behavior. You need to evaluate this. The reason why some women are raped and murdered is because they talk too much. Always keep you a dollar bill. I don't care if you don't eat. Learn to do without. Drink water, but you keep that money in your pocket. You need to pay more attention to the characteristics of rapists. Rapists target women with children. Just because a man has sex with you does not mean he will not have sex with a child. He is merely using you to get to your children. Always keep an outfit in your closet ready to wear. This outfit is to be worn on special occasions. This way, if you've got a job interview, you can go into your closet and you got everything ready. Next standard is you must accept your body. There's nothing you can do because your feet are size 9. You just have to accept your body and go on. You cannot sneak up on your enemy if he knows you're coming, which means you talk too much. Parents need to snoop, listen, and pry. You do not need to be the last to know what is happening to your child, especially these young girls going to high school. A lot of these little boys are trying to turn them into prostitutes. You can tell your child all you want that I trust you, but you still need to snoop, listen, and pry. You need to learn to listen and talk very little and be on time at your job and come a little bit early on your job. You need to get to know the janitor at your job. Janitors know everything going on in a company. At the end of the year, you need to give them a Christmas gift. Seriously, you need to pay attention to the janitors that work around you. You'd be surprised what they know. You need to stop ignoring drugs in the community. Why? Because you have children. There's nothing that can stop a child from obtaining drugs if that's what's on their mind. We have lots of information on our websites, and I'm going to give them to you again. The Women and Children Restoration Ministries maintain 2 websites. One is www.nisv.info, and the other site is touchedbythelight.us. Please visit these sites. There's a lot of free information for you to read during your lunch hour. I am going to pause for a second to take a short break while you listen to information regarding willpower and encouragement. It is all a matter of learning new behaviors. And please remember, it is easier to build strong minds than to repair injured people. What I said is a modification of a quote by Frederick Douglass. He said, "It is easier to build strong children than to repair broken men." Now for my break. Become a sponsor of the Women of Courage show by inviting 10 women for a pleasant afternoon to listen to us speak at your venue. Help us change our community to one of peace and harmony. The Women of Courage show is supported by the Women and Children's Restoration Ministries to help women problem solve and to help women realize their dreams. Women should believe that anything is possible. Our sole purpose is the restoration of injured women, both physically and mentally. We meet twice a month on Saturday at a local restaurant to discuss subjects germane to women. We see 5 main problems of black women that we must solve ourselves. One is the sexual abuse of children, bringing unrelated males into the home and fail to notice changes in behavior. Rape and murder of black women, failure to learn the warning signs, breast cancer, which is a failure to be examined, sex trafficking of black women, accepting prostitution as a way of life, economic trials of black women due to the inability to read or lack of education. Learn how to sponsor the Women of Courage show by speaking to our spokesperson, Renee of WHPR. She can be reached at renee88.1fm@gmail.com. I repeat, renee88.1fm@gmail.com. She will tell you all about it, or you can leave a message at the number 734-686-1444. Thank you. Later on, I'm going to read some more excerpts from the book, What You Must Do to Win, because I think this book will help you. It will help you work on how you think and on how you problem solve. But as I said earlier, must return to the subject self-esteem, because the lack of self-esteem can be rooted in jealousy, envy, adultery, prostitution, many social ills, leaving misery in its wake. Also, these ugly emotions are almost always exposed when a person gives their opinion. So, if you are thinking about winning, you need to be cognizant of the fact that when you open your mouth, you may insert your foot. The lack of self-esteem is the reason why so many women allow non-related males to come into their homes and mistreat their children. Low self-esteem causes these women to let these men rape their daughters, and then they turn around and lie about it, or have their sons call these men daddies because of their lack of self-esteem. The lack of self-esteem is why so many people fail at work, why people do not have the courage to go back to school or to search for a better job. The lack of self-esteem or low self-esteem is the root of many human tragedies. Women seeking out sexual relationships with married men to get back at women who are married. It is no accident that women seek out married men. They do this deliberately. They can walk around bragging that they're screwing another woman's husband. Low self-esteem is responsible for much of the evilness in this world. You want to kill your neighbor because he has a shiny new truck and you can't afford a truck. You want to beat up your neighbor because he purchased a riding lawnmower and you can't buy one. You fail to see that the reason why you cannot purchase a shiny new truck or a new riding lawnmower has to do with your conduct. Instead of going to the bar every night, wasting your money, you need to go home and use your money to manage your household. But you don't do this because going to the bar boosts your self-esteem. Hatred resides in the hearts of people with low self-esteem, and those individuals spend hours and hours plotting revenge for the lack of progress in your life. Now, we're going to go back to our study of low self-esteem. Remember, if you miss one of our shows, you can visit our YouTube channel at Touched by the Light Publishing to watch and listen to previous episodes of Women of Courage. Thank you. Remember, self-esteem is confidence in one's own worth or ability. Self-esteem also denotes self-respect. Those individuals who have low self-esteem usually undergo assertive training to build their confidence. See, without self-esteem, or if you have extremely low self-esteem, you will make yourself satisfied with a low-paying job. You will not fight back to go to school so you can get a better paying job. If you have low self-esteem, you will settle for someone telling you what you can and cannot do with your life, that you need to be satisfied with a used car, satisfied with a wife or a husband you do not love or desire. Self-esteem is your overall sense of self-worth or personal value. It denotes how much you appreciate and like yourself. Self-esteem is a personality trait, which means that it tends to be stable and enduring. Self-esteem encompasses belief in oneself. For example, I am unloved, I am worthy. So as well as an emotional state such as triumph, despair, pride, and shame. One thing I want you to note: women with very low self-esteem allow males to come into their home and mistreat their children or rape and kill their children. We're going to have a discussion of this later on this year, because a young boy was just killed by a woman's boyfriend by her allowing him to abuse her boyfriend because she had low self-esteem. Now, self-esteem is important because It heavily influences a person's choices and decisions. In other words, self-esteem serves as a motivational function by making it more or less likely that a person will take care of themselves and explore their full potential. Again, self-esteem is a motivating factor. Self-esteem will make you fight. It will make you stand up against the opposition. It will make you stay up at night reading textbooks after textbooks to reach your goal to be a mathematician or an engineer or a programmer. Self-esteem is the ground on which we stand. It is our foundation. It is the foundation of our beliefs. If you think you can win, then there is hope and possibility. If you do not think you can win, then there is what? A void. Think about it. What keeps a person going when every attempt he has made at winning has failed? What keeps a person catching a bus early in the morning, during sleet, rain, or snow, going to college for 6 or 7 years? What keeps a person working 2 jobs day in and year out, trying to save enough money to purchase a home, to purchase a car, to save enough money to go back to school, even though this person does not have family support? There are thousands of parents every year that do not help their children go back to school. These parents do absolutely nothing in terms of actually encouraging their children. They could go get a job, a part-time job at McDonald's, and help curb the cost of their child's tuition, but they don't do it. So when you see a person standing up against odds, against their family's behavior, that person is determined and that person has self-esteem. You are not going anywhere without a healthy dose of self-esteem and belief in yourself and hope. I know many of you may think that all you have to do is work tirelessly at throwing a basketball or running down the football court or talking loud and fast, and that's going to make your life for you. It will not. The key to success is belief in yourself and persistence. Dale Carnegie said you must persist. If you're trying to get the help of someone, you must pursue that person. You can extrapolate from the behavior of Michael Jordan or President Abraham Lincoln. You must persist. You keep pursuing your goal over and over and over again, day in and day out, week in and week out, year in and year out. Michael Jordan mastered the basketball because he believed in himself. Abraham Lincoln became president because he believed in himself. Abraham Lincoln ran in every election in the public arena. He even ran for dog catcher. He ran until he finally got elected. The foundation of persistence is self-esteem. Those with low self-esteem either give up or they never try. If the following describes you, then you may be suffering from low self-esteem and you need to see a counselor for help. Do you try and act happy and successful, but actually you are terrified of failure? Do you live with the constant fear that you will be found out? Do you wear a mask of positive self-esteem? Do you have problems with perfectionism, procrastination, competition, and burnout? Do you act like the opinions or the goodwill of others, especially people who are important or powerful, don't matter? Are you angry all the time or feel like you are not good enough? Do you have the need to prove that the judgments and criticisms of others don't hurt? Are you always fighting authority? Or are you the helpless and unable to cope with the world and wait for someone to come to rescue you? Do you use self-pity or indifference as a shield against fear or taking responsibility for changing yourself? Do you look repeatedly to others for guidance, this behavior can lead to such problems as unassertiveness, unachievement, and excessive reliance on other relationships. Are you always blaming someone else for your circumstances or situations? Do you always say, if so and so had done this or that, this wouldn't have happened? These are all signs of an individual with low self esteem. If you have low self esteem, please seek counseling. It can help change your life. The problems that you encounter in defeating your low self esteem is that you do not believe in yourself and you have formed a habit of not believing in yourself and you have surrounded yourself with low achievers and non believers. I'm going to say this again. The problem that you are encountering in defeating your low self esteem is that you do not believe in yourself and you have formed a habit of not believing in yourself and you have surrounded yourself with low achievers and non believers. Consequently, you have stopped growing and you are stagnant in your behavior. Unwittingly, you turn people off with who are high achievers and people who want more out of life. These people have left you by the wayside. Look around you. How many friends have you lost? How many friends have moved away and never looked back? They did not give you their forwarding address or phone number. Do not tell yourself that you lost your friends because they have more money than you, that they think they're better than you. Face the fact that you ran these people away. You refuse to grow up. You refuse to grow. You refuse to change. You are depressing to be around. You always have a problem that is never solved. You are boring and unpleasant to be around. You are unwilling to learn new things, to push harder, to get the things that you want. Face it, you are always looking for the easy way out. Maybe you lost these friends because they did not want to become involved in your silly criminal behavior. Maybe they valued their families more than you valued your children. They were not going to go to jail over a few easy dollars. Yes, that is correct. When you do not believe in yourself, that lack of belief leads you into criminal behavior because you become entangled with the word easy. Without thinkers in your life, you do not have anyone to introduce new and fresh ideas to you. So it is about time for you to learn to believe in yourself. If you can develop the habit of not believing in yourself, why can't you develop the habit of believing in yourself? You need to work at developing a positive habit of thinking. You need to develop a mantra. The problem is you do not believe, so how can I get you to believe? The first thing I want you to do is to leave low achievers alone. You need to find some better friends. You need to find some friends that actually know how to think and problem solve. Second of all, you need to start telling yourself, complimenting yourself on what you do well. You need to develop a mantra which says, I am going to change, I have changed, I'm going to find me a job, blah, blah, blah. In other words, I'm telling you to begin forming a habit of believing in yourself. And stop looking backward and stop your criminal behavior. Will you help us? Our prison ministry is trying to reach women with sons and or brothers in prison. We would like for these women to help us with our ministry and halt the growing population of incarcerated men. If you know of someone with a loved one in prison, please contact us at 734-686-1444 or email us at murderedvoices@gmail.com. We must teach men to read to keep them from entering prison or before they leave prison. Men are now entering prison for killing their children. This has to stop. If we can reduce these murders by teaching men to read, to think clearly and to manage their emotions. Edward James Olmos said, "Education is a vaccine for violence. We must do everything we can in our power to stop these heinous murders. Please reach out to us. When we work together, we win."
Attention women, have you ever asked yourself why society views you as a lesser being to a man? Or why most leadership positions are filled by men? I urge you to visit touchedbythelight.us and get your copy of this amazing, inspiring new book called Women of Courage Part 2. It's carefully written with a passion for all women. It's the time for all mothers, sisters, and daughters to come together as one. Unite together and understand your life and make a change today. Visit touchedbythelight.us and order the book Women of Courage Part 2 and feel the love and dedication it has to offer. Get your copy today.
Twice a month on Saturday, I meet with my listeners for a discussion about issues affecting women. Join us. For dates, times, and directions, you can reach us at murderedvoices@gmail.com. Stop thinking there's nothing you can do to change the world. Your life is important. For more information on our books or subjects discussed, email us at murderedvoices@gmail.com.
You're watching Detroit's own WHPR TV. Detroit Live.
Hi, this is Renee stepping out on faith. You can watch me 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on the WHPR TV Now app. Download our free app at WHPR TV Now.
Weekdays at 2 p.m. Eastern.
Thank you for listening to Women of Courage, and have a great day.